The awesome team over at More Fun Games allowed me the opportunity to take part in the Arena Breakout Infinite Season 2 beta testing strike team in order to collect some early feedback on new features and content coming to the game. And in this video, we were going to be looking at the map expansion, which arguably is the most impactful change we've had to the base game since Season 1's launch. And honestly, it's less of an expansion and more of a complete rework. We're going to be taking a look at the most impacted areas of the map, entirely new points of interest, and just how differently the map flows and plays overall. And for a little sneak peek, it went from being my most hated map to a map that I would actually play on every once in a while to give myself a break from Northridge. Anyway, let's dive in. What's the problem with farm inside of Arena Breakout Infinite right now? At least for me, the farm kind of breaks down into a distinctive 3-lane format. And no, I promise we're not talking about League of Legends terms here, but there's a top lane, a middle lane, and a bottom lane. Everything in between those lanes is basically a kill zone. There's really only these 3 ways that you can go. And how spawns work on farm, you have a bunch of people spawning all the way on the left and a bunch of people spawning all the way on the right. And these are the only 3 ways you can really traverse the map. And what does this do? It makes PvP predictable, it forces people into the same areas unnecessarily, and it just limits the type of mobility options that you have as a player. Tell me one good reason that you load into farm outside of rushing stables and motel. It gets very boring. The map really just wasn't fun to play, and I never really engaged with it outside of doing missions. But with Season 2, this entire map's flow is going to be expanded on and completely changed for the better. This map has went from one that I hated to one that I will actually play with every once in a while, because we were recently blessed with the map Northridge. And ever since I started playing Northridge, I hoped farm would get bigger and get the same sort of treatment. And I'm happy to report that is kind of what we got with Season 2. The map is being expanded. Whole new POIs were added, most of the important existing ones were updated, interiors were changed, more loot was added, leading to more options for players loading into the map, reducing the side effect of very predictable PvP and giving people more movement options. It is such a breath of fresh air. To kind of keep with the analogy that this is a 3-laned map, we are going to be breaking down this expansion one section at a time, starting with the very top lane or just the most northern part of farm, because this is arguably the most updated part of the map. To start off, we have an entirely new point of interest called Small Hall, and inside of this POI, there's an entirely new encrypted time to safe, as well as a document case and some other really high loot that you can snag inside of that main building, as well as the shacks on the outskirts. And this would only improve as you move up into Forbidden Zone if this comes out with Forbidden Zone or Lockdown. Then we have entirely new wooded areas that did not exist previously. Essentially, the wall that existed in the game before got pushed up a lot and the forest was expanded with new paths to take that connect to old ones. So instead of just crossing that little wooden bridge that goes across the river, you have different options to go, and this allows you to kind of sneak by engagements that you previously would have been railroaded into. Interestingly enough, the open storage area that doesn't have a name in the game in Season 1 at the time of me making this, it's just called the North Wheatfield, got an entire glow up. It has large fences and full cover that go up higher to prevent people from sitting on the ridges to kill you inside of there, and the layout was changed and an entirely new building was added. Kind of in my opinion, giving this landmark a little bit more of staying power for people to hit up, because previously it was really just a spot that you ran for cover. There really wasn't a reason to stay here. Now this place is looking more appetizing.
You got anything good? Give me a share.
Then, as you move more to the left side of the map, you will notice that the bridge here has also been moved more northward, allowing for more cars to be added to the road, allowing more cover for you when you're navigating this relatively open portion of the map, where previously, Sniper Scav could get a few lucky shots on you if he sees you, and anybody with a good scope can pretty much aim down this entire highway area and get good eyes on you when you're making your way to stables. And also a really cool note, some overgrowth on the stone pillars. I just think it looks nice. And finally, as you approach stables, which is normally a really highly congested area, especially early on in the game, you will notice that there's an entirely new wooded area as well as its own corresponding dirt path that completely allows you to avoid anybody that's camping inside the bushes outside stables waiting for whoever got in there first to leave, which commonly happens in the game now. And this also allows you to avoid people sitting by the rocks by the lake, and so on and so forth, really eliminating a lot of the annoying, unnecessary threat that happens if you're just trying to make your way to the other side of the map. It is a really commonly camped area, and now you have more ways to deal with it. And most excitingly, out of all of these changes to the most northern part of the map is the introduction of another way around the lake entirely that has complete and utter cover. Currently in the game, when you want to make your way out of the grain trade center or go to it, if you're on the north side of the map, you have to pass this lake. And it is a really scary run because you are very, very, very exposed. But now in season 2, there is a lifted up path that goes essentially above and around this that has metal grating that no one can see you through, allowing you full safety on your way to the grain train center. One thing of note, this isn't going to stop anybody from hearing you, because if anybody's on that path under you, they can just track you and probably wait for you to poke your head out on the other end. So there's still some risk here. It is just very nice to have a safe passage to get by this really open stretch of road. Moving on to the middle lane, there really isn't anything different here. It remained the most unchanged and the most unaffected in this entire expansion and rework, but one thing to note is that this middle lane is heavily affected by the things that happened on the top lane and the bottom lane. In particular, just the new POIs that were added to the bottom are gonna change how people kind of move about. So if you commonly stick to this lane to kind of rush your way to areas, just note that people are going to be coming from a lot of new angles that you weren't previously expecting. And that moves us neatly on to the last section of this map's update, which is the southern side of the map, or the bottom lane. Starting off all the way on the right side of the map, if for some reason you're finding yourself to be frequently spawning over here, just like me for some reason, the first thing you're going to notice is that there's once again a brand new point of interest called the Southeast Village. Now, unlike the small hall, there's really nothing of value here other than duffel bags and some other small containers and toolboxes for you to loot. So really not worth your time if you're looking to make money. But what this does do, most importantly for the map, is change the flow of combat over here, because previously it was usually a spawn die kind of situation, because every player that spawns over here can really quickly and easily get eyes on another potential spawn and really quickly eliminate people from the game before they even had a chance to leave their initial zone. So what this does is now there's more cover, there's more verticality here, and there's even some AIs that spawn in here which could really change the flow of combat and help you get some more intel on somebody if they're over here. And when we move more down this bottom lane, Villa also has one really noteworthy change. It's pretty much the same point of interest you know and love, but the bedroom window up on the second floor is covered, meaning you can no longer sit in here and pretty much see main warehouse and that entire northern area. The once closed metal checkpoint gate now finds itself open in Season 2, which introduces an entirely new road on the south side of the map that takes you all the way to Motel. And along this road, you will come across a second new point of interest, the Wheatfield Farmhouse. Once again, really not worth your time unless you want some low tier quick cash loot. But once again, more AI spawn here, and there are some player spawns close to this, so there's a likelihood of bumping into some PvP engagements. Finally, when you find yourself to the more left side of the map, you will notice that the once locked gate by the cluster of buildings by cemetery is also open, allowing for the integration of a new dirt path that allows you to avoid going up the hill directly smack dab into another player spawn. So overall, more mobility options and more paths to choose from, which will drastically change how PvP feels in Farm. And similarly to how the northern side of Farm was pushed up, this southern side was also slightly pushed down. So there you have it. Those are all the important changes coming to Farm once the expansion hits in Season 2. And guys, I haven't even talked about the more minute details of this expansion. I never showed all of the interior layouts of some buildings, and the fact that there's going to be more loot distribution on this map, and that there's going to be a new boss coming to Farm. All of these things will be waiting for you to discover for yourselves once Season 2 launches. So overall, it looks like Farm's about to get a much needed glow up, but I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Do you hate Farm just as much as I do? Is this update also gonna get you to try it out some more? Do you love or hate the fact that there's gonna be more loot distribution outside of Motel and stables? Do you love or hate the fact that there's more mobility options, allowing PvP to be more dynamic and less predictable, kind of putting this map on par with Northridge? And do you, generally speaking, want another boss on this map? Do you think this is going to be healthy for the game? Let me know down in the comments below, and let's talk about it. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and the goal for this year is to hit 2,000 subscribers. We're already halfway there, so I know we can do it, but we're going to need all the help we can get. So if you enjoyed this Arena Breakout Infinite content, make sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when I post a video. I have big plans for this game. I've been having an absolute blast playing it, and I just, in general, want to make more Arena Breakout Infinite content. So if that's something that you want to see, make sure you leave a like on this video, because that lets me know that this type of content is what you guys want. With all of that said, thank you so much once again, and I'll see you in the next video.